Hi, thank you so much for tuning into this video today. My name is Brandon Burden, and I'm the president and founder of Daniel Nation. And on today with me, I have JoAnn Fleming, who is the leader of Grassroots America, We the People, and Chairman Abraham George, who is the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. We're coming to you with a very important message to the Republican Party of Texas and the Grassroots of Texas, because Texas is in very I won't use the word perilous times, but definitely precarious times. And we're seeing a lot going down with the 89th legislative session that has many in our party concerned and many in the grassroots even angry over what we are seeing. And I felt today that we needed to hear from our leaders statewide as far as how we need to respond to the events that are taking place. So let me just give a little bit of background so we understand why and how we got to this point. In the last session, the 88th, Speaker Dade Phelan did try to impeach Ken Paxton and successfully got a hearing in the Senate, which the Senate did overturn. But this angered the grassroots in a way that we've never seen before, to the point that people went down to Beaumont to campaign against Dade Phelan to try to get him out. And we were successful in tying up his money in his own reelection campaign, and he barely won reelection. It did damage his chances of becoming speaker again because he lost credibility with his fellow uniparty Republicans. But the greatest thing that happened out of that was we got around 20 new Republican lawmakers elected to the 89th legislature. And so, with these new lawmakers being sworn in this year, we had very high hopes that we were going to get a reformed speaker. Before we held the speaker vote on January the 14th, we had many in the party, including Beau French, who is the county chairman for the Tarrant County GOP, putting pressure on the Republicans to caucus behind our nominee. Also, Chairman George was putting out mailers in the districts of those that were not wanting to support the caucus nominee to put pressure on them to follow the rules of our party. And then, of course, on January 14th, we all showed up on buses en masse. Thousands of us came to the Capitol for the speaker vote, only to be shut out of the gallery to stand out in the rotunda for hours on end trying to get into all the empty seats that had been vacated after the swearing in of the freshman lawmakers, never being given an opportunity. And so the Republicans in Austin sent us a very strong message, the Uniparty did, that they did not really want to listen to the grassroots or did appreciate our presence there for asking them to follow the caucus nominee vote. And then the following week, we were shut out once again when Representative Jared Patterson called the nuclear option on the rules package and now labeled the Democrat Empowerment Act of 2025 by Representative Harrison. This rules package gave Democrats more power than they've ever had in the legislature, forcing them to have all vice chair positions, also giving them subcommittee positions. And we now have 5 Democrats sharing subcommittees. And in addition to that, gave them a $2 million pay raise to all of the Democrat vice chairs. And then, of course, this morning just got word that Charlie Guerin has called a meeting with the committee that decides the budget for the offices and the committees, the administrative committee that does this. And now they are behind closed doors deciding which offices are going to get which amounts of money, which committees are going to get which amounts of money. And this is unprecedented because when we discuss the budget, this is always done openly before the body, and the body is allowed to decide the budget for the offices and the committees. And so, what we're seeing in the first 5 weeks of our session is just an unprecedented co-opting of a dark secret, we'll call it agenda, that really is run by, I believe, the Democrats and the Uniparty. And they are basically saying we're in charge. The grassroots of Texas is not in charge. Even the Republican Party of Texas is not in charge. We've got about 36 bad actors that are running with the Democrats saying, we run the House. This is our house. It's not the people's house, and we're in charge. And so now some are saying that the 89th session is lost. It's a lost cause. It's obvious that they're not going to listen to us. Some are saying that they may throw us a bone. here and there with maybe school choice, but even the school choice package, many are divided on the way that bill is written with SB2, and we're not really sure that it's truly a conservative bill. And so the general sense that I get is this: the grassroots Republicans, they need to hear from their leaders because we don't really know what to do in mass. We don't really know how to react or to respond to the leadership we're seeing from Speaker Burrows, from the secret backroom meetings that are now being held about the budget, from Democrats that have been given power to control committee hearings and even who testifies in committee to bring their agenda forward in committee hearings that's going to be targeted at killing our agenda. Now, with Todd Hunter being put on calendars, who went to the Republican caucus the morning they discussed the rules and said, you will have the opportunity to amend the rules package and to debate the rules, only to have a choreographed event take place with Representative Patterson, who called the nuclear option. And so now Todd Hunter, who promised the Republican caucus that they would have a chance to debate the rules, is now the calendar's chair. I mean, you can see the pattern, you can see the writing on the wall. And I think the grassroots now are very angry, they're very frustrated, but more than that, we're exasperated. We don't know what to do. Our plans are not working out. We thought we were going to get a reformed speaker. We thought we were going to get our 8 priorities put ahead of the Democrat priorities. It looked like everything was going to work this session because of the way the election went. Trump won the White House. Doge is cleaning up DC. But yet in Austin, we are stuck with this massive swamp controlled by 36 uniparty Republicans who are controlling the whole agenda for the whole state of Texas. And today I've asked JoAnn and I've asked Chairman George to weigh in on this and to give us direction. We need to hear direction. So, JoAnn, um, I want to start with you because we had a conversation a couple weeks ago that led into this video. And you said something to me about building bridges with the Republicans that we can work with. And I want you to speak into that because I believe you have a strategy that we need to really listen to this on this video about how we need to respond, not react to what we are seeing. So, JoAnn Fleming with Grassroots America, would you please speak into what we're experiencing right now?
Yes, I will. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And hello to Chairman George. It's a pleasure to join you today to speak to the grassroots. Well, look, this is a long game. We have to play the long game here. And overarching this situation that we have, I want to remind everybody that the grassroots across not just Texas, but these United States had 4 horrific years coming off of the 2020 election, which we were not confident in the results. And we saw President Trump persecuted in the courts with lawfare, and we saw the Democrats and the hard left like a pack of wolves over a carcass. And God intervened. I believe with all of my heart that God intervened on our behalf. And President Trump is now in the White House with his team, moving at lightning speed. And I want to tell the grassroots this. I know that the same God who made a way for us with the November 5th general election is the same God that cares about what happens in our capital. And you know, and I know that this is not God's best for Texas. It just is not. So I would ask you all to take a deep breath, thank God for what He's already given us, and then plead our case to our Lord God to intervene. He changes hearts. Pastor Burden can't change a heart. JoAnn Fleming can't change a heart. Chairman George can't change a heart, but God can. So that is what I'm praying for. But let's look at the ground that we have gained. You know, in previous speaker races, we've had maybe 19 was the most that we had that would defy the establishment Republicans and vote for a speaker that would put the side of the House back on the side of the people, that it would once more become the people's house. so that the voices of the Republican Party, grassroots activists could be heard in the Capitol, working for those legislative priorities that are important to the people of Texas. Now, today, we had 52. We had 52 Republicans who stayed together, who abided by the Republican caucus rules, who were unified with the Republican Party brand, the conservative banner for our state. They stayed together. 52. I'm thankful for those 52. Then when we got to the rules, we lost 30 of those in the rules. And I'm going to tell you where I am today. Grassroots America, the grace and mercy that we try to extend to people in office and allow some room for them to make mistakes, here's where we will not make room for grace and mercy. That is with the 36 who have a history, a pattern of colluding with Democrats to thwart Republican legislative priorities. They do it over and over. It's repetitive. It is a function of their operations. It is not a bug. So those 36, as far as I'm concerned, we're expecting God to raise up the right people to run against those folks. And we're in it for the long game. Over time, we believe that some of those folks will either be so frightened of the pushback that they will get, they will decide to retire, and or they will be defeated in a primary. So now let's talk about the rest of them. So we have the 52. As I said, we had 22 of those 52 who voted for David Cook, who stayed true and understood what was happening with the rules. They understood that the Democrats were being empowered. Well, for some reason, there were 30 of them who were, and I've talked to many of them, they were confused. They thought if they went back home and they didn't vote to eliminate Democrat committee chairs, then they would get beaten up at home because they didn't do that. So whatever. Grace and mercy is extended to those 30. And I want to say to any of those 30 who are watching, Grassroots America, we the people, wants to work with you. We will help you advance your legislative priority bills, those good bills that we can agree on with the SRECs. I am telling you, we will help you and support you. And I would ask grassroots to do the same thing with them as we work with the 22. Because look, you have to fight with the army that you have, not the army you wish you had. And look, if we take these 30 and we act like the left and we become a pack of wolves, and those are just 30 carcasses that we decide we're going to just tear apart every day on social media. Guess what you will do? You will drive them into the arms of what I call the Austin cartel. They have plenty of money and will embrace them. And before you know it, some of those 30 will go with the 36, and they will be a permanent fixture in the House. They call themselves Republicans, but they collude with Democrats. So my message is this: let's work with those 30 and the 22. We got 52. We can do a lot with 52. God can do a lot with 52. And I bet you that we can advance some of our very good legislative priorities. So let's leave room enough to do that. And let's play the long game, and let's try to get as many of these legislative priorities through a very successful hearing. I want everybody to go down there and to uphold the Republican Party principles of limited government and maximum freedom.
Yeah, thank you, JoAnn. I mean, that's a really great way that you put it. And, we're going from basically playing checkers, which is what we're known for, to playing five-dimensional chess, which is what President Trump does. And we've got to start thinking long range for the long game. So, Chairman George, let's bring you in now to weigh in on this, because in the short term, our party, people in our party that I talk to, some of them are just like so frustrated that they don't think we're going to get any of our eight priorities passed. Of course, others are already calling for blood in the streets, which would be the pack of wolves that JoAnn talked about. They want blood, they want it now. But that doesn't help us in the 89th session. I mean, we're on the clock here. We've got till May to get our priorities passed. So, Chairman George, help us see this from your perspective as our party's leader in the state of Texas. And what is your synopsis of what's going down and what we can do to respond to what we're seeing?
Yeah, thank you, Brandon, for having me here. The idea is, when we talk about legislative session, what we really care about is the legislative priorities that we currently have, right? And we will work with anyone to get that done. We want to have real priorities, not the namesake bills that they try to pass and say, oh, we passed a priority. That's not what we want. We want a real priority bills that are actually going to mean something. Because if you don't get that, we're going to have the same legislative priority next cycle. We don't want to do that. We would rather get a real priority so we don't have to worry about it and we can have our new priorities next time around. So some of the things are working really well, like Governor Abbott and also Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick put some of our priorities, well, most of our priorities as their priorities as well. Speaker Burrows haven't shared his priorities yet, so we don't know what that's going to look like. So this idea of let's go burn it down doesn't work. It's way too early in the session for us to do. We got to go work with the legislators. That doesn't mean we're going to compromise on our bills. And the way to do that is to continue to inform their constituents if they're not on our side. And that's what the party is willing to do and party is doing today. It's like if one of our legislators, House members, mostly because Senate is very conservative, they're getting their stuff done. If they continue to push back like Jared Patterson did with his nuclear option he pulled, we are going to inform his district, hey, this is what your representative did. We don't want to start doing that in February. Probably in March, we're going to start pushing that out in mailers and text messages. So the idea of let's go burn it down it's not strategic. We want to get our priorities. That's the goal today. Let's work with them. Let's inform them. Let's make some phone calls and tell them, hey, this bill is not good. It's not good enough. Sometimes it's a good bill, but it's something like SB2 where there are strings attached to it. So we want to go back and say, hey, the SB2 is great. We want to have school choice, but there are amendments that need to happen. So having that conversation, the only way to have that conversation is to have some sort of relationship with them. And so build that relationship today. That's the base of our narrative today, saying, hey, let's go back to these legislators. We elected them. We want to get work done with them and get some really good legislation at the end of the session. And we don't really want to keep going to the special sessions, which is something Governor Abbott has promised if we don't get our priorities done.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so, to your point, Chairman George, committee hearings start in March, and we need our people to show up and testify on bills. How can they be notified by the RPT whenever a bill is coming up in committee and that we need to show up and testify? How are we getting those communications?
So we have a legislative priorities committee. Leslie Thomas and Jerry Fisher are the committee co-chairs on that, and Rachel Horton is the vice chair. So they're going to be sending out weekly newsletters, basically saying, okay, here's all the bills that we are pushing, and here's all the bills we're opposing. They're also meeting in committees now to look at each and every bill that is related to our 8 priorities. And they're also looking at bills that are not on the priority, but they're horrible bills. We just don't want them. There is a bill that is an automatic, reader of your license plate to push. I mean, we support law enforcement, but that is an invasion into our privacy. So it's really not in our priority, but there is a bill. That bill will be opposed by the party, things like that. So there's good things and bad things that are coming in our way. And what we want to do is use the good things as much as we can. And they will be sending out emails. There will be some text messages going out based on, committee hearings. And if that need to happen really fast, we will send out text messages to Grassroots. Yeah, our convention folks will get the text and emails for sure. But if you want to sign up, you can do that at our website at texasgop.org.
Yeah, and also just want to mention y'all have a page on texasgop.org that shows the bills you've approved under each priority, which is very helpful to have that information as well.
Yeah. So we're also going to start putting the bills that we're opposing, like completely opposing. There is a bill that is a Second Amendment violation that's filed by a Democrat. So we want to make sure we put that out there as well.
Yeah, thank you. JoAnn, I want to come back to you for a second. We've talked about building bridges with the Republicans that voted for David Cook and that voted against the nuclear option and voted against the rules package. And some are calling them the Alamo Republicans. There's 30 of them, give or take. And then, of course, you add to that the 22 solid, Republicans that are just hardcore with us for the 52 total. But I want to ask you about the 36 uniparty Republicans who voted for Burroughs, who voted for the rules, who voted for the nuclear option, who, they are in lockstep with the Democrats. And I think people watching this video need to understand that Chairman Burroughs was elected by a majority of Democrat votes, not Republican votes. We had 36 Republicans, but was it 46 Democrats who voted in favor of Dustin Burroughs for the speaker? So we had 10 more Democrat votes than Republican votes. So we basically, in essence, have a Democratic elected speaker for the House. But JoAnn, these 36 Republicans that we're calling now politically unredeemable, do we keep wasting our time when we go to Austin talking to their offices, or do we just ignore them like they're ignoring us? I want us to be strategic. What do we do with the 36?
Well, I think that you still go to their offices because look, we are not, this is not about political personalities. This is about liberty principles. These are the bedrock issues that the people of Texas have asked for regarding securing elections, securing the border, protecting children, getting rid of property taxes. I mean, those are things that across the board, Republicans across Texas support those things. So here's why I say you go in to those offices and you still drop your literature, you still stand for those principles and values, because unless I'm just completely wrong, I think we're going to see the structure that those 36 built in the House will be doing things that will obstruct things that Texas needs to do to support President Trump. There are good bills down there that are border related bills that will help and aid and assist local law enforcement, joining with what Governor Abbott has done at the state level to help President Trump and Tom Homan in making Texas secure, making these United States secure. So I think as we watch these committees, we're going to see those Democrats who are emboldened and empowered and now very well funded will be doing things to obstruct. I don't believe the people of Texas who voted for a very, very bright red Texas are willing to stand by next primary and reward people for obstructing President Trump and obstructing the Republican Party of Texas and our values.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I kind of want to bring this video in for a landing now, just because I didn't want to do a super long video. I figure more people will share it if it's shorter. But Chairman George, I want to end with you. And you went to President Trump's inauguration. I saw you on the video several times when I was having a watch party with the Collin County, Patriots. And President Trump is doing a great job already. He's like Operation Fast and Furious. He's just cleaning house with USAID and all these bureaucratic offices. It's amazing what he's doing. But when you look at what he tweets out, when you look at the public statements he makes, even at his inauguration, Governor Abbott was there and he kind of, I don't want to use the word placated, but he said, hey, we're going to work together to fix the border. And Governor Abbott looks like he's on board lockstep with President Trump. And every time you hear President Trump talk about Texas, it's almost like he's not being informed about the Austin swamp. It's like he doesn't understand that our state, even though the voters voted for him and our state is ruby red, there's no question we're ruby red, but Austin doesn't reflect the voters in Texas. And so my question is how do we make President Trump or Elon Musk, who's moved his company to Texas, how do we inform them? How do we get this video to them, for one thing? How do we get this video to President Trump and Elon Musk saying, guys, Austin is not going the way that you think it's going, and Texas is not really going MAGA with our legislation like you want it to. We got a problem cooking here, and y'all need to be aware and need to weigh in on this. Abraham, George, how do we get this messaging to President Trump?
Well, I think they are aware at this point because some of the things that are coming out from DC from Elon Musk, asking if Burroughs is going to pass the school choice is one of them. I also think Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is very influential in Trump administration. He is making President Trump aware of the things that are happening here. One of the things that I do want to say is I was at an event with JoAnn Fleming at her event a few weeks ago, and she showed a map of the Texas versus Texas legislature, and the Texas legislature is very purple. The Texas itself, the state of Texas, the people are very red. So we don't really have the exact representation going into Texas House. And that needs to be changed. And the only way to do that is keep working on the primaries, get people to move to our side and keep working the primaries. And that's what we're planning to do. I do think we will have some more support from President Trump, the MAGA team, if you want to call them, about these issues as the session is moving. They are definitely aware of these problems that we have in Austin.
Yeah, I appreciate you weighing in on that. And of course, my last question, and I'll conclude with this. I can't get away from this video because so many people that I talk to every day are talking about Rule 44, and we're just going to censure these 36 uniparty Republicans out and blah, 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 blah. But I know that we've got to be, if we're going to use Rule 44, especially if we're going to use penalty 3, which is the ballot removal option, it's going to go to court. We're going to sit before a judge that's got to decide to rule in favor or against his fellow Republican lawmaker, which is a hard thing to do. And I know people are looking to you for leadership on this area, Chairman George, and I'm also trying to follow your lead and give the grassroots leadership that I'm leading. But can you advise us? Can you guide us so that we don't do something really that we regret with this whole censure idea?
Absolutely. So Rule 44 allows us to remove someone from ballot, which is like the top punishment for a representative who is elected as a Republican who doesn't follow Republican principles and party platform and things like that. So uh, I gotta say that is like the last option we have to exercise, but we want during the session, we want to work with them to get them to our side and see if they will do the right thing. If not, the name of the party belongs to the grassroots. It belongs to the people. They get to use it when they run for primary. And if the party's principles and the priorities are not being upheld, at that point, the party have to make a hard stand and say, well, yeah, we're not going to let you run again because you're not really a Republican. You don't care about Republican policies and principles. You care about Democrats, and you put Democrats in charge. I just realized a few minutes ago, a tweet came out that Speaker Burroughs is giving the Democrat the vice chairs $5,000 each for their every month. So these are tax dollars. Our property tax is absolutely crazy here. And then to go and spend more government to see in DC, they're actually cutting government. It's the drastic difference between us and DC now. When people say, well, we don't want to be like DC, well, at this point, I want to be like DC. I want Austin to start doing what President Trump is doing in DC. So there's more work to be done, but Rule 44 will be one of the tools that we use when it comes to next primary, but we are not quite there yet.
Yeah, I totally understand. JoAnn, any last words you'd like to say on Rule 44 or anything that we've talked about as we conclude?
Well, we just need to be very judicious and careful about those things that if we use Rule 44, we need to be very consistent. We need to be very precise in following those rules. And look, you don't have to make anything up about Republicans who stray from principles. Their records will show you what they are. And I think once we see what their voting records are down there, I think there will be ample opportunity with some of those to document those for Rule 44 and to use that judiciously at the right time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, just to sum up, guys, we need to build bridges, not burn down town hall at this point in the session. We need to work together to get our priorities passed. Committee hearings are coming up in March, and we need to show up and register our opinion either in person or using the online forms that the legislature provides us to register our opinions. I would also say that if we've got subject matter experts out there on the 8 RPT priorities, your testimony will carry weight. And if you can weigh in on those areas, we need you to show up. I know Chairman George will be at the Capitol in March. I will be there March 11th and 12th. I will have grassroots folks at the Capitol every week, starting the first week of March. We will be down there weekly. And so I just want to encourage everybody, if you're not subscribed to our mailing list, we send out a lot of good information. JoAnn Fleming's got one of the best email lists in the whole state. I'm sorry, JoAnn, but you just do. And she sends out great information all the time. So that's Grassroots America, We the People. You can find her online. Of course, Chairman George, they're going to be sending out legislative reports very soon. Bills we need to be paying attention to, bills that we need to kill. So make sure that you opt into the mailing list on Texas GOP. And then DanielNation.com, we put out the information about the trips to Austin. So if you want to go with us, we're going to be doing overnight trips, staying for more than one day. And so we need to stay there for a couple of days to testify and do office visits. So if you want to be a part of that, opt in at DanielNation.com. And then I just want to conclude by saying that this is a spiritual battle first, and it's a natural battle second. And I called for a statewide fast 2 weeks ago and asked everyone to pray and ask God for an answer to this problem. And the Lord gave us an answer on our prayer call 2 weeks ago, and He told us that we needed to write out decrees and declarations over Texas according to Scripture, and we need to begin to pray God's word over our state every day. And so I've put a document together that's 2 pages of declarations and decrees based on Scripture that you can get through my mailing list at danielnation.com. And every Tuesday from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have a prayer call where we are declaring those decrees and praying over the legislature. And I would encourage you to join us on our prayer call and join us in releasing those decrees. And so it just, we can't forget the spiritual battle and the spiritual war, because that's where we win first. And then we see the results in the natural. Chairman George, thank you so much for being on this video today. JoAnn Fleming, thank you so much. It's always an honor and a pleasure. We will be distributing these videos, this video out through our platforms shortly. And so please share this far and wide, especially if you have a relationship with Elon Musk or President Trump. I want to make sure they get this video in their hands. God bless you guys, and thank you for being on today.
Thank you.